Why does Elon Musk want to destroy NASA? SpaceX CEO Elon Musk and NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine moderated a press conference Thursday morning at SpaceX's headquarters to address concerns about the company's crew capsule. The first SpaceX capsule, known as Crew Dragon, appeared to have been destroyed and successfully returning from the International Space Station after a few days. Musk spoke about the incident. The idea is to find extreme corners of the universe where things go wrong, Musk explained. In his remarks, he noted that the primary mission was a success and that the additional testing was SpaceX's effort to push the framework and systems on the Crew Dragon capsule to their limits. Musk said the test flight to the space station, where people were on board, would have been a success if people had been on board. Professor Musk said rather than taking tests because everything is fine, you take exams to discover what will go wrong. There's a fundamental principle: make sure you fail on the test stand, and then you won't fail in flight. SpaceX and NASA are testing a new system for Crew Dragon's thrusters for the control system created using SpaceX's data from the original incident at another facility. SpaceX's Crew Dragon tablet is to carry NASA astronauts to the International Space Station, which is the group building. Area leaders met with Bridenstine following his visit to the SpaceX facility. Bridenstine has recently increased pressure on Musk to deliver a safe and timely return on SpaceX's investment after SpaceX won a $2.6 billion contract for NASA's Commercial Crew program in 2014. Commercial Crew is NASA's solution for launch U.S. astronauts from American soil once again. Almost every year since NASA's Space Shuttle program in 2011, astronauts have flown to the International Space Station, a broad Russian Soyuz spacecraft, at an estimated cost of over $7 million per seat to NASA. Launched as satellites. The first launches of the program have been pushed back until 2018 due to delays with SpaceX and Boeing, which won a $4.2 billion contract to build a space capsule for the program. As previously noted, the most recent schedule update for Commercial Crew was 5 months ago, partly due to Bridenstine's decision to remove Bill Gerstenmaier as the NASA Chief of Human Spacecraft in July. NASA's administrator told reporters that the organization needed to address inflating costs and delayed schedules for its top exploration programs with greater urgency. While Bridenstine publicly urged SpaceX to deliver, it is unclear whether that will happen. Bridenstine stated the day before Musk launched the eagerly anticipated replacement for the next generation rocket called the Starship. NASA expects American taxpayers' investment to be met with equal enthusiasm, while Bridenstine SpaceX's announcement is something he is anticipating in his words. Bridenstine's tweet: Boeing, which has also been behind schedule, wasn't mentioned in Bridenstine's statement at the same time. When asked if he had singled out SpaceX, Bridgestone's response that he had already been critical of contractors who overpromise and underdeliver. Musk responded to Bridgestone during the Starship presentation. From a SpaceX perspective, our sources are mainly Falcon and Dragon. To be clear, it was honestly a tiny portion of SpaceX that worked on the Starship, Musk explained, adding that he believes less than 5% of the company's employees were involved in the project. Although SpaceX CEO Elon Musk claimed that its next milestone, known as the in-flight abort test, would take place in about 10 weeks, Congressman Paul Bridgestone calls the date uncertain. It'll take at least 3 months to test the updates on Crew Dragon after the explosion, and capsule's parachute system will take at least 3 more months. Effect on SpaceX on NASA. After delaying its final milestone test to fly NASA astronauts from U.S. soil due to lousy weather, SpaceX destroyed one of its rockets. The in-flight test of the uncrewed astronaut capsule was delayed due to high winds and rough seas on Saturday in the area where the spacecraft was to splash down. 2 mannequins were on board during the second launch attempt, and the satellite was launched Sunday morning by Cape Canaveral in Florida at 10:30 a.m. A Dragon Crew capsule launched through the sky 12 miles above the Atlantic in just over a minute as the Falcon 9 rocket blasted off as expected. The capsule was propelled up and out of harm's way by powerful thrusters after the engines on the booster were intentionally shut off, causing the booster to tumble out of control. After the 9-minute test flight, the capsule fell into the ocean just offshore after reaching an altitude of 27 miles and clearing the way for the next time. 2 NASA astronauts were aboard. Despite choppy seas, everything looked to be going smoothly. The SpaceX rocket, which was reused from 3 previous launches, crashed in pieces into the sea. Tesla, founded by Elon Musk and currently led by him, usually lands its boosters upright on a floating platform or back at the launch site after landing. SpaceX's Benji Reed, director of crew mission management, said that the main objective of this test was to demonstrate that the astronauts could be carried safely away from the rocket in case of a problem. Mr. Reed noted how important this test is to use an extensive practice session, according to Kathy Luters, the commercial crew member at NASA before SpaceX's launches Doug Hurley and Robert Becken to the International Space Station. The abort test was the last open milestone. She predicts that it'll happen by March. In advance of the demo, Luters said, "We are intentionally failing the launch vehicle, so we can verify the function of our abort system on the spacecraft that is going to carry the crew." Sunday's launch from Kennedy Space Center was delayed a day by bad weather, but hundreds of employees from SpaceX, NASA, and the Air Force were hand-on-hand on the land, at sea, and in the rocket. A wild, out-of-control rocket was the subject of a dramatic spectacle witnessed by locals and tourists alike on the nearby beaches. The Dragon test flight is a risky one because it is pushing the boundaries in so many ways. Musk tweeted before liftoff, "Everything from the capsule recovery to the firing room was assigned to the SpaceX crew, and the NASA astronaut Hurley and the Beacon headed these operations." Also on Friday, they suited up and went to Launchpad for a dress rehearsal. Since 2011, when the Space Shuttle program ended, NASA's astronauts have not launched from the US. NASA hired SpaceX and Boeing for billions of dollars to focus on the Moon and Mars to facilitate transportation to and from the space station. Despite successfully launching a Crew Dragon capsule to the space station without a crew member on board last March, the capsule exploded on the ground months later during ground testing. Crew Dragon is scheduled to launch from Florida toward the International Space Station with 2 astronauts aboard. This will be the first time the company has launched humans, and as an astronaut has taken flight on an American rocket from American soil since nearly a decade ago. It must be perfect from launch to orbit from docking and then launch and splashdown from the mission to succeed. Doug Hurley and Robert Breckley rely on it. Entrepreneurship of Elon Musk. It certainly isn't coincident that Musk has created such a high-risk, high-reward scenario. The 48-year-old entrepreneur has put his business acumen to work for several industries that have been disrupted in recent decades. From finance to launch services to transportation, there's no denying that he's a hustler and embraces it. A hard-working attitude paid off for him and his team, leading to a business worth billions. Several private companies reached $30 billion from valuations during 2014, including private equity-backed SpaceX and Tesla, which surpassed automotive veterans including Ford and General Motors. He has occasionally been in trouble because of his hard-changing ways. After tweets he made about talking Tesla privately sparked concerns from the government, he resigned from his position as Tesla's chairman. Musk knew he was entering an industry with a high-risk reputation. "At first, I wouldn't even let my friends invest because everyone would lose money. Instead of losing my own money, I thought I'd rather lose mine." Musk believed that space access would become more affordable. Let's enter Falcon 1. NASA saved SpaceX, Musk has stated over the years. Amid the upstarts company's final chapter, it succeeded after Falcon 1's third try at orbit failed. Almost 2 weeks before Christmas 2008, NASA announced that SpaceX had been awarded a $1.6 billion contract to fly supplies to the International Space Station, commercial resupply services. As of 2012, SpaceX has sent Dragon to the International Space Station 20 times using the newer Falcon 9 rocket. There will be a second trip to Earth with Beacon and Hurley aboard the Crew Dragon capsule. A coup after another was staged by his company along the way. The company acquired the rights to lease Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, which housed Titan rockets. According to Space Florida's Director of Government and External Relations, Dale Ketchum was particularly impressive for his ability to cobble together what was needed for a successful launch site from scraps and whatever was available. Using the materials he had available in simple physics, he has achieved some of his most remarkable accomplishments.